On today's edition of the Bully Ball podcast, we're going to talk about what Mooney Ward and Dre Greenlaw had to say about the 49ers, what's going on at camp, and we're going to break it all down with Steph Sanchez, who's actually at camp, right after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only podcast that leads all training camps in passing statistics. Steph, how are you? It's good to see you. We were missed last week.
Thank God that training camp stats matter, right, Jay? Like they just matter.
JJ Watt sent out an inflammatory tweet about that, and you know what I really enjoyed about it was what's going on at training camp is what they're trying to install, and you don't know the situation. For instance, nobody in the stands or on the sideline knows that they're working on a 4th and 1 play. So a 2-yard catch doesn't knock your socks off and you're like, oh, he's checking down. You don't know what they're working on. You don't know what the whole situation is. You don't know what they're trying to install. It's a nice little thing to talk about. It gets a lot of people going. But that's absolutely true. And it does get a lot of people going because, funny enough, and I just want to talk about this real quick because this is a 49ers podcast, not a Chargers podcast. Trey Lance is having a really good camp, and he's going to start on Thursday. Steph, we have football on our screen on Thursday, and Trey Lance is starting. But starting in camp and doing well in camp and doing well in the preseason, that doesn't mean anything, really.
And also, like, fits matter. I think, like, that's another thing that football and just, like, following the draft as well, like, that has taught me a lot, that fits in the NFL matter. And I don't think Trey Lance clearly just was not a fit, didn't jive with the system. We can get into a whole nother show about why they drafted him. Like, we've talked about that ad nauseum, right, at different points. But all in all, I'm happy for him. Like, great. Like, good for him. Good for the Chargers. Like, I don't care, respectfully.
I mean, I agree. I'm waiting. If Trey Lance goes out there and puts up 5 of 6, rushes for a touchdown, the masses who hate Kyle Shanahan will run to, look what Jim Harbaugh's doing with Trey Lance. Thursday is going to be a blast, and I know that DraftKings Sportsbook, which they didn't cut the check, hate to see me coming because a parlay is going to be put in on the Hall of Fame game. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the San Francisco 49ers, but we're actually here to start with 2 former San Francisco 49ers, and both of them on the same day had something come out about their time with the 49ers, and they were two different things. One, the Mooney Ward, Mike Silver Athletic interview was far more inflammatory, and it felt like, and I can tell, I'm good at body language, I'm good at understanding things like that. These comments were on this man's mind, on his heart. He had to get this off his chest. And Mike Silver, shout out to him, he got Mooney Ward on the record saying a lot of things about his time, particularly his last year with the team, that are eyebrow raising. And Rob has some of the things that it's a lot. When you read this article, there is a lot, and I'll read this for the audio listeners. Even before anything happened with my baby, again, we have to remember that and keep that in mind. I really wasn't super motivated because after the year I had in 23, I wanted a contract extension and I knew I wasn't getting a contract offer. They came to me and kind of told me what it was because they had other people to pay, so it kind of had me in my feelings a little bit. I just never made it public. And there's another part where he goes on and says that kind of Diamador Lenoir's drafting is put the writing on the wall for him, and he understands why he paid him because he's aggressive and physical and he's not like that. But this type of stuff, I think Mooney Ward is talking about, I put up an all-pro season and you're not even going to broach the idea. But the 49ers were bracing for his loss. So I think this is the business side of it. I was hurt when I realized it wasn't getting a contract extension or even an offer for an extension, so I wasn't motivated. Like from OTAs all the way through camp, I was kind of pissed off. I knew when the season started, it was a wrap for me in the Bay. Steph, please react to these very upfront and honest responses from Mooney Ward. We don't get this from players.
And exactly for that reason, Jay, is why I think I appreciate what Mooney Ward had to say, for one, especially when you put everything that he went through into consideration. As a human being, you can understand exactly why he felt everything that he would. And that's the unfortunate thing about, the business side of the NFL, um, is that it doesn't really care about your personal feelings, or, whatever you're going through. And, they're going to do what's best at the end of the day for the team. So that's what the 49ers did. They were upfront with him, which I appreciate that from the 49ers, and it seems like he did as well. But yeah, I mean, I I feel for him. I think we all did when he was going through what he was going through, and I think we all kind of understood and could see. We could clearly see, like, he wasn't in a place to be out there on the field and give it his all, and that's really difficult, I'm sure, for a player to do. So I just appreciate the honesty, and I hope the best for him in Indy, and I think this new start will be great for him.
Yeah, and look, I think we all knew, he knew, but it doesn't mean that it changes the feelings that you have. He's still human. We're all human. You know, I myself, if I had to move on to another podcast network and Rob was just like, I don't care, we're about to let you go and you can just go somewhere else. You don't think that that's going to make me feel some type of way because I am human as well, right? I think it's really interesting and refreshing to hear this perspective because you most likely would just get one of these coach speak answers or media trained answers, but he's a human, right? And I think there's more. Rob, if you have another one that we can put up, because Mooney was very candid and he was talking about after the tragedy with his kid, which I honestly, I wouldn't have blamed him for not coming back. I'm not sure how he could even come back and focus on football after something like that. Losing a small child is probably the worst thing that can happen to anybody, but he goes on to say, once I came back, I was just like, I don't give a F what happens. I don't care if I win this rep. I don't care if I lose this rep. I was there physically, but mentally, I was somewhere off the grid, off the globe. Now, this one's interesting for me. This one's interesting because even though you know that they're not going to offer you a contract and you're not going to get an extension, you still have to put good things on tape to make someone else pay you. Which has always been my contention about, oh, they should be tanking. Why would a player ultimately play poorly on purpose for a team to lose when his job is to compile the tape and have teams interested? Now, he did sign a lucrative contract with the Indianapolis Colts. I think they took into account the personal tragedy that he had and had it as a one-off. But that's interesting to say, like, I don't care about winning this rep and I don't care about losing this rep. I know that your mind state isn't, the best, and I can't imagine how he was doing that, but that's really interesting when the tape is your evidence of why you should be offered an extension or even signed somewhere else, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And, players, that's, again, the business side of it. Like, players have to think about their next contract, how they're going to put food on the table and provide for their family. Even after, dealing with this tragedy that he was going through, he still has to kind of suck it up and try at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, the situation all around, I think, just unfortunate. I also, there's a couple comments here in the chat that I'm just like, I think players know that it's a business. I think it's fair for players to be upset about not getting re-signed, just like it's fair for any one of us to be upset when we don't get a promotion, when we get fired, just things like that, because it's a business, right? We deal with our own businesses in our own way. And so for them, I think it's fair for them to feel that way. And so it's a little bit different. I understand what people are saying. Fans have loyalty to a team. There's no money tied to that, really. For some fans, maybe there is, but for the most part, we put our hearts into our teams in a different way. For them, it's a job. There's money tied to it. It's a business. But yeah, they still have every right to be upset about some of the things that they go through in the business side of it, even if they do know, about that when they get into it. So I just think we should give Mooney Ward a ton of grace and respect for what he went through last year. And all we could do at this point, like I said, like, wish him the best. And I'm going to be rooting for him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And the other thing is he talked about I never wanted to come back, but I have to pay the bills. And that's very true as well. You can't just sit out because you lose all of that money. So this is it's complex. There's layers, to it. We feel for the team, we feel for the human, and then there's that part where he's human and that's how he's feeling. And again, I feel like this is something he wanted to get off of his chest, and he sure did. The other thing is this: if Mooney Ward was completely locked in and never had this tragedy and he got his contract extension, the 49ers weren't going to win more games last year. Didn't change a thing. Did not change a thing with what Mooney Ward what he did not change one thing. And he talked about, I'm here, I came back, I wanted a contract, but I didn't hold out. But you're paying guys that are holding out, and that's refreshing to hear too, because, and for the audio listeners, there was a lot going on, bro. Because if you're winning, shit, everybody wants to get paid. Everybody feels it. Everybody feels that certain guys are not around and certain guys are around but not participating. Like, I was there. I had surgery after the season under the advice of them, and I was rehabbing with them. So and I've been an All-Pro, and I didn't get paid, so I was like, what the F? Like, people are not showing up and getting paid, and I wasn't, so it definitely made me feel some type of way. That type of stuff, it takes a toll on the whole team. He's talking about Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, even Christian McCaffrey to a degree. So it's refreshing to hear this, because you know how people can surmise or try to put together pieces of team dynamics and how does this affect the team? Well, this is somebody who's being absolutely candid with their experience during this. And like I said, if Mooney Ward was locked in and he was there and he was fully engaged, they weren't going to win a single one more game. It's not, that's not the difference between the 49ers and their record of 6-11. It's not, right? But it is interesting to hear this, because it does kind of come out of nowhere, but it is nice for them to get, and nice to hear some candid responses about the human experience as a football player, right, Steph?
Yeah, this comment from Diego, I think, is so real, because he's
Yeah.
saying, I mean, Mooney was still more committed than Devondre. Devondre
And
Campbell,
he
you're absolutely
and
right about that.
and he publicly shamed Devondre Campbell after that happened
That's
as well
right.
too. Even
Right.
as unlocked in as he is, which I don't even know if that's a word, even as
Oh,
unlocked in as Mooney was, he still was more locked into Devondre Campbell. We need to start changing the name. He who shall not be named is him, or we should just say 59. Like, that's it. Like, we're not gonna say his name anymore, because it's almost like Candyman. Like, we don't want to see one of those guys just pop up in the mirror or anything like that. But Steph, any other thoughts on Mooney Ward before we move on to what Drake
well,
Greenlaw
yeah, I
was
just
gonna say?
wanted to add, like, what he did say about players that weren't there and holding out, like, getting paid. I think I could understand why he would feel a certain way about that as well. And I think the 49ers are kind of, this offseason especially, kind of want to shift towards rewarding the players who are there, right? Like, I've been saying that about Juwan Jennings, and he showed up at camp even though he wants that new contract and whatnot. And I do still think he's going to get that extension at some point this offseason. And because I think you have to send that message that, okay, the players who have showed up for us continuously and do everything the right way. What more can we ask for from them? Like, if a player does everything that we ask them to do, and they are everything we want them to be, why wouldn't we extend them, right? So, I mean, from that standpoint, I can see what Mooney Ward's saying. I think the Lenore thing is ultimately why they didn't resign him, and he understands that. Which is good, but yeah, that I think that was interesting to hear him say. I'm glad that the 49ers are maybe wanting to work on that part a little bit better.
Yeah, and he understands the business side of it. You have Lenore, you pay him, you draft Renardo Green, and then Renardo Green steps up and starts playing well. It was all written right there. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. You can understand something as a human and still be hurt by the way it goes down. But that's fine. I mean, look, he got paid. He needed a fresh start. He talked about not wanting to be there, that like his wife didn't want to be there. We all know that he wasn't going to be there. But again, this is refreshing. But that's what Mooney Ward had to say to Mike Silver. Fast forward and let's fly over to Denver. And Dre Greenlaw was speaking at the podium. And I wonder if Rob has the clip. If he has the clip, then just play it so we can go through it.
It wasn't easy, of course, but I mean, they wanted me. You know what I mean? Throughout the whole time I was talking to Sean, there was never no ifs, ands, buts, maybe this or that. It was like, man, we want you to be here, and you know, I mean, I was a foster kid growing up, so it's not a lot of times that people just wanted me. You know what I'm saying? So it just made me feel special. It made me feel like this is the place where I needed to be.
Now, this one's interesting because I have no issue with what he said. None. And if you read that out of context, which what it says on the screen, Dre Greenlaw and why he went to Denver, they wanted me. Denver did want him. The 49ers slow rolled and slow played talking to him. Denver wanted him. And then, like someone who is about to get out of a relationship, and at the last second, the 49ers tried to show up to his house like John Cusack with the boombox. Nah, it's too late, gang. It's too late. Okay? And one other thing, Dre Greenlaw wants to be the man. He wants to be the man. It's nothing against Fred Warner. I want to be the man. They showed me interest. When someone is slow rolling and slow playing you, and again, this has to do with the salary cap and how they were talking about how they had to pay people. But yeah, you can't just show up at the last minute with flowers after you like distance yourself the entire time and try to win your ex back, Steph.
That's the exact analogy that I was thinking about when I saw this video, and I just thought about how the 49ers went about it. They went about it all wrong. It was just a little too late in the game to try to get some skin in it. And we all remember that even before the season ended, you kind of got the sense that they had some conversations, and Dre Greenlaw felt like he wasn't going to be here, right? So I think that says a lot, that it wasn't just in the last moments, right? I think for a long time, Greenlaw knew and had his mind made up that, hey, maybe the 49ers don't want me as bad as another team might. And he was right about that at the end of the day.
Yeah, and Kyle Shanahan talked about we're trying to do this. We're trying to evaluate. We wanted Dre Greenlaw, but we just came at the last moment, right? Like this is nothing new. And I have zero issue with what Dre Greenlaw is talking about. And speaking of the human element, hearing him say, I'm adopted. Not a lot of people wanted me. That is something from childhood trauma that is now brought into the NFL business, and that is something that is going to be with him for the rest of his time. So I think we understood Dre Greenlaw had a chance to leave, but when you say things like that and you act that way and then you try to show up at the last moment like, oh, baby, don't be that way. Please come on back home. It's like, nah, we're done. And on the screen, Rob, if you can make it bigger so I can read it for our audio listeners. We tried to. There are negotiating tactics. Also, it's not just one player at a time. You're working 20 different things at a time. You're trying to get a backup tackle. You're trying to get a quarterback. You're working on linebackers. You're working on safeties. You're working on all these positions, and they just don't go in order like that. You're negotiating with agents. These things happen. We still wanted another shot. We took another shot, and we weren't able to get it done. Look, even if there's a chance, even if the 49ers put their best foot forward and really tried to engage with Dre Greenlaw, there's still, in my mind, and this is my opinion, and again, it's based on nothing but vibes, that he wanted to be the man. He wants to be the man. And he's going to be the man in Denver. And Denver's defense is elite. And from everything that we're hearing from camp, obviously it's not time to take victory laps one way or the other. He looks very good, and he looks the part. I do think that has a little bit to go into it as well.
Well, of course he looks the part. I mean, it's Dre Greenlaw. I mean, we know what he brings to the table. Obviously, so do the Broncos. So happy for him. Again, another player I'm happy for. Like, I am rooting for him. In Denver. Hopefully, I can catch a game out here, or I'm in the Bay, but out where I usually live in Denver and see him. I'm looking forward to those joint practices too. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some chippiness between some of the former 49ers that are now on the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was something that was, everybody's here to talk about training camp because we're so excited. But these were two interesting comments that, funny enough, came out on the same day. So good for us and good for content. We squoze 19 minutes out of it. Make sure while you guys are here. Yeah, that's a good word.
Squoze is crazy.
You like that word, right? I got a bunch, man. I have that calendar that when you flip it, it's the word of the day and you got to use. That was the one. Like, you have to use it in a sentence.
So that's a real word?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Squoze. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah. But Anyway, we're not here to talk grammar. We're not here to talk words. We're here to talk 49ers football. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, all of that. Thank you guys for spending your Tuesday evening with us wherever you are. But, Steph, you're at camp. This is my favorite time of year because this person says this about the player. This person says the opposite about the player. We are so back. Conflicting. See, there you go. Conflicting reports are back, training camp. We are so back. What a time to be alive. But I'll let you start since you had eyes on it. And the reason that I want you to take this is I can go off of the reports and who you trust and what, but I don't have strong opinions because I can't see, right? You have been there the entire time and you've been able to see the pads are on. Today Ricky Pearsall was off. What else do you have to offer us about what was going on at training camp today?
Yeah, well, as far as the reporting thing and there being different reports for the same player or even the same play, I'll just say, like, it's always good practice to consume a lot of different beat writers at this time and kind of just come up with the truth. So that's usually somewhere in the middle. And I think usually you can kind of tell who's leaning towards one side already, who has their biases more so than others, because everyone does, right? But I will say, I think there's a few great beat writers with the 49ers who are pretty neutral. I'm not going to name them here, but, you know, you guys might know. I'll just say, like, I think as many people as you can watch, listen to, that's great practice. What did kind of annoy me, though, is just, like, the kind of panic over literally one tweet, Jay, that was like, Mykel Williams just cooked, or I don't know what word he used, but cooked Trent Williams right off the snap or something like that.
By the way, that was a troll tweet. So if you fell for that and you rage baited and you foamed out of the mouth over it, look.
That's crazy.
Caesar Bass is not at training camp, guys. Please, guys. Please, guys. I this tweet on the screen, I need you guys to use this. Use this. I highly doubt CBAS5S is got eyes on training camp. This is the time of the year where the trolls come out, especially now that you can get your little $12 from Elon Musk for engagement. I need you guys to use this. One time in the first camp, real quick, and then I'll get back to you. One time in the first camp, someone changed their profile to me. And they put out a tweet. Remember, Steph? They put out a tweet saying that I said that someone said something racist to Trey Lance, and everyone's in my mentions like, I can't believe you said this. And I'm like, that idiot, that's not me. That's not me. Use your eyes. Use your ears. Use your brain. I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest because this is still floating around. Look, 233.3 thousand impressions. Please, guys. Please. I implore you. Let's do this. Let's use this. Go for it, Steph.
Oh, my God. Is Trent Williams taking a step back? Is he cooked? Is the offensive line going to be terrible? We're done. Mykel Williams looks great. He looks great. He really does. Like, he looks great since yesterday, the first day of pads, right? He was a standout. There were two plays in particular that I saw. I was watching the defensive line, offensive line one-on-ones. I was also watching the trenches for team period. He was lining up over Trent Williams a lot. Okay, and I just have to say, like, from all the snaps that I saw, I don't think I saw one that would have me concerned about where Trent is at. I did see a couple of snaps where Mykel Williams, first contact with those really long arms that he has, which Trent has even said, like, is tough to deal with. It got Trent off balance. Like, you see Trent, like, move back a little bit, quick feet, you know. He regains his balance because he's Trent Williams, All-Pro, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, and he recovered on the play. Like, that's it. That's it. That's all I saw. I didn't see anything that would have me be concerned about Trent. Nick Bosa had himself a day as well. I'm just not ready to say that Trent Williams is like cooked, like that he's taken a step back. I would have to see way more of Trent to, like, struggling to really say that. I still would even have to see more of Michael Williams to say, like, wow, like this guy is he's the next All Pro on this team. But I'm excited though about Michael. Like, he does look really good, rushing from the outside, rushing from the inside. Here's another play that a lot of people are talking about because the 49ers posted about it today. It was from today's practice. CJ West, it was a one-on-one rep against Drew Moss, an undrafted free agent offensive lineman. If you look at the comments
Purdy's
on
gonna
that,
be running for his life.
yeah, it's like everyone freaking out about the offensive line. Drew Moss, Drew Moss looked pretty good. He had some nice plays today. I think, he's probably a practice squad guy, right? Like, he's not a bum. They're not going to release him, I don't think, as of right now. But still, like, let's not freak out over a one-on-one rep. CJ West, by the way, has looked great since the pads have come on, especially. The offensive line is going to be okay, people. Like, let's get a grip. I need people to not freak out. I get it. When you see one guy have a good play, it's hard to, your mind doesn't go to the other guy they were going up against and, like, worry about that guy or that position group, right? But, like, oh my God, they have to go up against each other in practice. Like, I'm sorry, someone has to lose a rep.
So what I'm gathering is Michael Williams is the DPOY, Trent Williams is cooked, and Drew Moss is the starting right guard for this team.
You got it all right.
I don't want to laugh, right? But you have to laugh. I don't want to laugh, right? But you have to when you go through these comments and you're looking and you just, like, I want to ask these people, but again, whatever. People are entitled to say whatever they want on the internet, but I want to ask them. I'm like, do you know who 55 is? Like, a quick Google search will help you out, And let's say something else. I would hope that CJ West could beat Drew Moss. If not, we're in trouble here.
Right.
We're in trouble here.
Thank you.
We're in trouble here.
Yeah.
But Michael Williams beating Trent Williams doesn't mean that Trent Williams is cooked, and it doesn't mean that Michael Williams is the DPOY right now. It's one rep. Trent Williams is going to lose more reps during the season. Guaranteed. No question about it. Does not indicate one way or another. It's just settle in. You got to figure this out. I don't care. Get him to week 1. I'm not worried about Trent Williams, but that's what training camp's all about. It's about taking victory laps in 5 days and 6 days and saying, I told you so, right? Steph, today, Clay Kubiak spoke before practice, and he was asked about the wide receivers, and he gave some really big props to Jordan Watkins, saying that mentally he's there, that they feel that he's ready to take on more of the mental tasks that you need to. Talked about Ricky Pearsall by saying the sky's the limit. Talked about Jacob Cowing and his presence, but I thought it was interesting because he was asked about Brandon Ayuk, right? And he was asked, what is he doing out there? He's pantomiming routes, and I think everybody is trying to find out the timeline. But what I found interesting is the theme of the overall time in the offseason was Leonard Hankerson talking about Brandon Ayuk being more of a coach. And that's what Clay Kubiak echoed, was he's in every single meeting. He's on the sidelines. He's helping. My God, man, you got to trade this guy. He's such a disruption to the team and everything as well, man. You got to get a guy like that out of there who is not physically out there to run routes, but is trying his best and then helping out the younger guys, man. I mean, what a distraction Brandon Ayuk is, Steph Sanchez.
I think it's huge for Brandon Ayuk, of all players, to be out there and be involved. And it genuinely looks like he wants to be with the wide receiver group out there. And you remember when we had those conversations, Jay, that I was like, I don't know if that's Brandon Ayuk, like, because he's this quieter kind of guy, somewhat timid. Like, it took him long enough to even get comfortable, I think, in front of a mic. So I was like, is he comfortable being a leader or a teacher, right? Not all guys can be, but in a way, like, he was kind of forced and heavily encouraged, I think, by the 49ers to kind of do that and challenged by them to do that during this time. He can't be out there himself as a player. So you see him challenging himself, I think, to be there and coaching these guys up. And I would say he looks comfortable doing it. Like, it looks like he has kind of found his sense of being the mentor, for this group. And I think that's great because it shows maturity for him as a player as well. You got a lot of young guys in that group. You got a lot of new guys in that group. So it's good to have, someone like Ayuk to kind of help guide them into the system. So it's great. I think it's awesome that he's finding his footing. This could be like the next step for Ayuk as a player.
And we have to figure out a little bit more about how long the timeline is. I think that's what everybody wants to find, but that's also encouraging to hear. Ricky Pearsall had a scheduled day off today, as Kyle Shanahan outlined was the plan on his ramp up. So it makes sense to give him today off, as the team is off tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, right, Steph?
Yeah.
So 2 days off, that's good. You don't want to rush anything. I think we know. Same thing with Juwan Jennings, where we're talking about Juwan Jennings and how he's just playing it day to day. I think that's fine. I think that calf injury has really held up whatever contract negotiations they've had, wouldn't you say?
Are you suggesting it's a phantom calf injury?
No, I'm thinking that it actually is real because he was dealing with it during OTAs, and now the 49ers are like, whoa, don't sign that just yet. We gotta figure out what's going on with this calf because we want to figure out whether the calf muscles to connected to the whatever. It's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. But I would have thought, like, if there was no calf issue, it probably would have been done before the pads went on.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, so that's all. But nothing to worry about, guys. Everything's great. But one thing I did
Jay,
want to... What?
The only thing to worry about is that, yes, okay, Pearsall had one day off today. But, like, can we talk about what the wide receiver group was today?
After you.
Because Brad tweeted this out, and I was like, yo, you keep saying it's scary. It's getting scary. It's getting
scary,
spooky,
hilarious.
It's getting spooky. Demarcus Robinson, Equanimeous, oh my God, St. Brown.
There you go.
Isaiah Nair, Junior Bergen, Russell Gage, Isaiah Hodgins, Malik Knowles, Tariq Owens, Jordan Watkins. That was the wide receiver group today.
I'm fine. I'm not panicked at all. You have to just think about
it. Right?
Yeah, it's just one day. Not panicked at all. But that list doesn't inspire we're so back, right? Like, that's the one where you're like, but luckily there's not a game this week, and luckily there's not a game that matters this week. So I wouldn't take too much from this anyway. I think the plan needs to be very smart for Ricky Pearsall, for Juwan Jennings. Ideally, those are your week one starters. The 49ers are likely to probably keep 6 wide receivers, depending on where they go after this. So this is good for all these guys that they're trying to figure out who is who. Apparently, Russell Gage is having a good camp. And then we have DeMarcus Robinson, who's going to be suspended. I have a off the wall theory about how we can settle one of these spots, and just stay with me real quick. Steel cage match between the two Isaiahs. Only one Isaiah can walk out. That's it. Like Isaiah Nair or Hodgins. We're gonna figure out who's getting in, who's getting out. Put it on pay-per-view. I'd pay for that.
I mean, I would too. And hell, like, throw them all in there because they're kind of like all in that same level of play. But look, in all seriousness, you mentioned Russell Gage. He has looked pretty good. Like, I wasn't expecting to really have him pop so far in camp, but at the same time, it's like you almost expect that there's always that one veteran, like, that just so consistent throughout camp and just looks like a stable presence in the wide receiver room. Russell Gage appears to be that. And I'm going to say something crazy, Jay, but I feel that to start the season, and Ricky Pearsall, I think, healthy, he's a given to start, sure. But also, I like the group of Juwan Jennings, DeMarcus Robinson, and Russell Gage because from the standpoint of reliability, I think those three guys are all similar in the sense that quarterbacks trust them. I don't know what it is. All in different ways, right? But they're the kind of guys who are just consistent, reliable. You can depend on them. When you need a play, when you need someone to get open, clutch time. That's what I've seen so far in camp from like a guy like Russell Gage, for example. And I think like we've been seeing that as like Demarcus Robinson has been a common target for these guys as well throughout camp. So I can see those guys being able to move this offense, move the ball, even if Brandon Ayuk misses half the season, for example. So there is concern over the wide receiver group, but I think those guys who I expect to make this roster, like obviously, they'll be fine.
Woo! And on the screen for our audio listeners, I'm sorry you can't see this, but you need to run to your social media because this was the play of the day, a 40-yard dot from Brock to Jordan Watkins. And the play of camp before this was Mac Jones to Isaiah Nayer. And I don't know, Steph, if you watched last week, but me and Rob, we had a segment where we said who's going to be the guy that's going to make some of these eye-popping catches. It sounds like it's tied 1-1 because Rob said Jordan Watkins. I said Isaiah Nayer. Isaiah Nayer had the lead 1-0, but it's 1-1 right now, so it'd be pretty cool. EB says, anyone seen the new unis? I have.
You did?
I have.
Just tell me this. Are they mid?
It doesn't matter what I think. I'll let you guys be the judge. I'll let you guys be the judge of it. I'll let you guys be the judge of it, man. But anyway, I did want to talk about some of the training camp battles in terms of what Robert Saleh was saying at press conference. And he says that Jason's not lying, Sean. I may tell a joke, but I never lie. He talked about the third cornerback position being available and open. And the name that keeps popping up in press conferences and being asked is Dallas Flowers. By the way, the way he spells Dallas makes it fire. Dallis. Flowers.
Because it's not like the Cowboys, Dallas.
Not like the Cowboys. Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Gus Bradley had him in Indianapolis and talked about him being off of an ACL injury and was talking him up. Obviously, Gus Bradley is the second in command as a defensive coordinator. And he talked about, we really like him, but he's a year apart. He sounds like he's the guy right there that's going for the third spot. And he talked about the safety position. And he talked about Jason Pinnock, and he talked about Marcus Siegel. And you know what really stuck out to me? Not one mention of Jair Brown. Like nothing from him. When you comb through the transcript for Robert Saleh, nothing about Jair Brown. And it should be a stranglehold on that job given his experience. Does that concern you at all?
Well, I'll just say, he has no allegiance or ties to Jair Brown, for one.
He doesn't.
But what's crazy about that is that Jair Brown has been the starting safety along with Pinnock to this point. And they haven't rotated guys, so it's like kind of but I'll just say, I haven't really seen anything from Jair Brown. It's not like he's getting cooked out here, right?
He has an interception, if we're going off training camp stats.
Stats. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. But, I just, as far as I've seen more plays from Jason Pinnock than Jair Brown as a whole. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be concerned about it though, just because they got other guys too that they like. But I think those two guys will be the starters.
Yeah, it has to be, right? But he did say nice things about Marcus Siegel. But another interesting development is, and I think we kind of just automatically counted this guy out, is D Winters out here just making himself known, and it's his job right next to Fred Warner. You would know better than I would. Dude
is flying. He's flying across the field. He's showing the sideline to sideline speed. He's playing his gaps well. I think as a whole, the run defense looks much improved, by the way. But D Winters does look like a guy who's ready to take that next step. And when we get into the season, I don't want people saying or asking, do we have the next Dre Greenlaw? No. Let's just not do that. Well, let's not do that. Yeah, right. Let's just not do that to him. I think D. Winters, in his own right, he's himself. There are some parallels, right? Like the sideline to sideline speed, a guy who plays with his hair on fire. But that's just the 49ers linebacker way. Like, that's just how they always try to draft their guys. D. Winters looks great so far. So I'm excited about him. And, yeah, he's like firmly the LB2 right now in camp.
What really encourages me, because I can't see with my eyes, I trust you, Steph. I trust everybody else, because you really can't find anybody who's saying anything bad about D. Winters. That's how you know, right?
Yeah.
Not one person is out here saying D. Winters looks bad. So regardless of who you believe, if everyone's saying the same thing, I'm more inclined to believe that.
Sign.
Right? Very good sign. But what he talked about when he hit the podium about, I've learned how to recover and take care of my body. That's it. It's great that you knew that. Yes, it's great that you knew that. It's great that you understand that we were trying to get you on the field for consecutive plays, and it was very hard last year. So, in addition to all the things that Fred Warner said very nice about him, for him to be self-aware and understand that I need to figure out a way, because whatever I'm doing is not working, that he's doing that, that is a very good sign. Robert Saleh did have really nice things to say about Nick Martin as well, too. And I think the one guy that everybody's asking about, and he showed up late because of his contract, Alfred Collins. And he talked about, he's working through it, and he needs to keep working, right? Like, that's the one guy that he stopped himself short of saying, he's doing, listen, he's doing everything right, he's going through the reps, but he needs to get working. Apparently, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, his pad level's a little too high right now for somebody that you need to be somebody in the middle to hold things down.
Yeah, I see that. He's getting stood up, especially in one-on-one reps. I haven't seen anything inspiring yet from Alfred Collins. I'm going to give him some time because he didn't have OTAs or minicamp. But, yeah, so far I'm a little disappointed based on what my expectations were for Alfred Collins. He was my favorite pick, one of the favorite picks from this draft class. So I'll give him time, but, yeah, just haven't seen anything quite yet.
So let me see if I got this right. And again, you're the one that's there, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Michael Williams, DPOY, Trent Williams cooked, D. Winters is Dre Greenlaw, and Alfred Collins is a bust.
You got it.
Did I do this right?
You got it.
Okay. For our audio listeners, you can't see the crazy viewpoint of like me just smiling, but I wanted to ask you about Dominic Pooney, because if I have another thing correct, and I'm trying to say this in a sarcastic way, Dominic Pooney's already in a second-year slump. Is that true?
Like, already. Season hasn't started. He's already in a sophomore slump, yes.
Oh, my God. I love it. I mean, look, we are so back. Thank God we have a day off. But it is interesting, the amount of people that have strong opinions while not being there, right? Like, so if for our audio listeners, it says training camp overreactions, Dominic Pooney sucks now. Here's one. And I think Brad posted it, because this is a guy that's probably going to get paid next year as well, too. Colton McKivitz and Nick Bosa had an interesting three-play setup, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm reading this correctly, Bosa whips him with a Dwight Freeney spin. McKivitz wins the next one, and then it's a stalemate. So It went 1-1-1, and Tim Kawakami right here, I'll read this for our audio listeners, and I'll let Steph comment. Bosa requested 3 straight one-on-one reps versus McKivitz. I judged it as a win, a loss, and a tie. Good work. Then Bosa went hard versus Trent Williams and McKivitz in team drills. He was fully charged. I'm not reading that last one. What about the that exchange right there with McKivitz? Because, if you ask certain 49ers fans, McKivitz is the worst offensive lineman in the history of football.
Yeah, right. So I do like that they have him going up against Bosa, and I like that they kind of wanted to redo the rep. I believe the second rep Colton McKivitz requested because he got beat on the first one, maybe felt like he didn't get, his footing right or just something he wanted to redo. And then the third rep, Nick Bosa wanted again. So, like, I like that they're being competitive with each other and they're like, hold on now, I could beat you kind of thing. You know, that's just the best part about camp and one-on-ones and being back in pads and all that. So I think it's cool for Colton to be able to, you know, cut his teeth against Bosa. You know, we've seen and heard of all the battles that Bosa and Trent have had. Not that I'm comparing this to that, but I think just from the competition standpoint, it's always great to see that.
You know, Bosa and Trent, that is literally that scene in Godzilla when the guy's looking and he's like, let them fight.
Just crazy. It literally does look like some National Geographic stuff, but
iron sharpens iron. I want to talk about Upton Stout because apparently he had a really good play against Ricky Pearsall, which I guess this means Upton Stout is the man and Ricky Pearsall is the bust now. If we're doing this right, and
or
if
Purdy,
you guys, or Purdy, right? If you're listening, I hope you've caught on to the drift and the joke. Like we're running this joke into the ground, but Upton Stout has looked very good, and he is bringing a physicality to this defense. And this is a really nice clip that you see on the screen. Look at that, like full look. He is going to fix the aura of number 20. He's gonna fix that aura of number 20 because the last person to wear number 20
forgot about the last one. I forgot about the last one.
Who was he?
The All-Pro of training camp, Ambry Thomas.
Ambry Thomas. And funny enough, and this is not my joke, I'm going to use it though. Andrew Pasquini, I hope you're watching. The 49ers did bring in Eli Apple, who he said is the Josh Normans of Ambry Thomas's. That's an A1 banger joke. I love that. That's a good one. Yeah, you like that?
You know what? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But Upton Stout, what have you seen from him?
First of all, I just want to say I hope you guys know that sarcasm is kind of the theme of this show.
I mean, it's usually a theme of like all our shows.
Facts. But in all seriousness, Upton Stout, I was already like stoked about Stout when I watched his college tape. The things that pop off from his college tape was his run defense. He plays bigger than he is. You know, he's a tiny guy, but he plays with a lot of confidence. We saw that immediately, I think, in camp. And I think right away you see the run defense and how he's going to help out in that department. He's getting first-team reps as the nickel. And so I think that's huge. They really haven't even rotated anyone else in at that spot. So, and he's doing things with it. He's actually playing well. So the one question that I had about Stout was, okay, he looks great as a run defender. That's something I already knew about him. How is he going to do in coverage at the NFL level, going up against bigger guys? And granted, Ricky Pearsall isn't like super big or anything like that, but to see him get that pass breakup, again, first team action, like I think that was huge and that was a good test. I just want to see. Okay, so for the audio listeners, we got a just little caption here. Training camp overreactions. Ricky Pearsall wears Upton Stout pajamas. I don't know what that means, Rob, but
that's insane. He's tucking them in and he's putting them away. So let me see if I got this right. Upton Stout's K'Wan Williams. C.J. West is D.J. Jones. Michael Williams is DeForest Buckner.
There we go.
And D. Winters or Nick Martin is Dre Greenlaw, right? Am I reading all of this correctly? Or am I reading all these reports and what everybody's saying? Like, do the 49ers have a type? Like, that's the question that I want to ask you.
Their type is their type. Like it's just the type that they've always had. It's like when you get it's like when Kanye breaks up with Kim K. And gets Kim K lookalike.
Kim K clone. Yeah. He's got a type, right? That. Like he's clearly very much got a type. No training camp report would be complete without talking about Christian McCaffrey, and the 49ers are doing a brilliant job of showing all these highlights. And I believe it was, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Chaz Surratt in coverage where Christian McCaffrey. What I love about the video, and Rob, if you have it, you could put it up, and if you haven't watched it, what I love about the video is, and this is what would let me know what's going on with his burst and acceleration, is Christian McCaffrey and Surratt are standing right next to each other while he's accelerating, and Christian McCaffrey goes like this, like, just throw it up. I'm beating him. I'm gone. So with all the talk about losing a step and everything, and I know Chaz Surratt is a depth guy, but the video, that's the little stuff that I took away. And then obviously the catch is amazing, but the burst looks like it's there. When he's still neck and neck with Surratt, he puts his finger up because he knows I'm about to blow past this guy and I've got it. Is Christian McCaffrey back?
It's like the Sha'Carri Richardson video of her racing, and she just looks back and she's like, okay, I'm getting into my second gear now. See you guys. Yeah, like that's pretty much what Christian had here. And Christian is Christian. Like, he has not changed. He's got the dad superpowers now.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here, man? He's just fine. He looks great.
Also, congratulations to Brock Purdy. The most beautiful thing in the world is a newborn baby. So him and his daughter, and you know what, NFL, I got news for you, and I hope you look at me dead in my eyes. You're all cooked. Fred Warner's running around with a toddler. Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy have newborns. That dad strength is coming for you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can just hope for the best, but you're gonna get cooked, and yeah, that's all I wanted them to know as well too. But it was really cool to see, Fred running around with his son, having his helmet on, and then these pictures, and then Brock was out of practice, and everybody, 49er fans are very smart. All that stuff about getting trolled by somebody on a tweet, that's one thing, but they knew right away that when Brock Purdy's not there for a personal reason, everybody's like, oh, he had his baby. Well, you guys are on it. That's why you guys are the smartest fan base, for sure. But yeah, it's really nice to see, and it's just, good omen, good vibes. Like, this camp already is the polar opposite of last year's camp. No matter what happens moving forward, you definitely cannot complain about the vibes right now, even if, it would be really nice if Ricky Pearsall could put a few days in a row together and Juwan Jennings get on the field and maybe Jacob Cowan gets on the field, but the vibes are completely different. And you've been to back-to-back ones, Steph. It's in the air right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's just a different energy all around. I mean, I think a lot of it comes from just more guys competing for spots, and you definitely get that sense. Like, I think guys are excited to come into practice and fight for a spot on the roster, and their place on the depth chart. So that's been fun, and there's just a lightheartedness, I would say, about just practice in general, especially compared to last year, man. Like, it did feel, especially some days over others, that there was that cloud just hanging over practice. And it wasn't always just the injury stuff, the contract stuff that kind of loomed as well. And so I know they're dealing with injuries now, but it's still not like in that same realm. Like, it's completely different. Robert Saleh's back. His head, the sun is reflecting off of his head. I mean, these are the things that I love to see. Rookies are winning reps with first team. Like, yes, it's all there. I feel really good about where the team is at right now. And this was just like the first week, right? So usually the second week, like, it starts to get even more serious. We're going to get into the joint practices, preseason games. It's really going to turn up. But Jay, you weren't wondering about the kicker competition?
That'll do it for this episode of the Bully Ball. No. But okay. I do want to say this, and I wanted to ask you because you're our resident Nick Bosa, impersonator, right? The NFL Top 100 list does such a good job of eliciting so many strong responses to the rankings, and Nick Bosa finally got revealed on the list at number 57, if I'm not mistaken. Rob, if you could pull that up. 57, too high, too low, just right. What do you think?
That definitely feels too low. Like, for Nick Bosa. Like, I know last year was a down year just for 49ers in general, so they're getting disrespected left and right on this list. But damn, like, that's super low. And I saw that, like, the 49ers post was like, they remember or something like that. I forget what their caption was, and I was like, what the hell? Like, no, like, we should be angry about this.
Nothing.
I hope he is.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. That's all I care about. But nothing riles fans up more than rankings, because we have this
meaningless rankings, dude.
We have this ridiculous discourse that is absolutely breaking my brain on Twitter. I had to mute the two names. Jalen Hurts and Cam Newton. Just shut up about it. Just shut up, because nobody can objectively say anything without it just being completely biased. And Eagles fans are losing their mind. Like I say all the time, and I told Rob, if Brock Purdy and the 49ers win a Super Bowl, I don't care where you rank them. Put them 32nd. I'll take the ring. You take the ranking. This shouldn't rile you up, right? Like this type of stuff. I don't care where you rank them. Make yourself look dumb. It's okay. People are dumb every single day on the internet, B. You gotta let it go. You can't let this stuff go crazy. We've got actual football going on with intense training camp battles. We have a chance where it's 6, 7, 8 rookies that could be starting on defense. We have Robert Saleh back. All of these things, there's actual football to discuss. So let's not get sidetracked here. Let's not get sidetracked by meaningless rankings. And by the way, if you want to yell at somebody, don't yell at the NFL. Yell at the NFL players. Might just be NFL, NFL players don't know ball. Like, and that's the funniest thing to ever say, right? Because they're the ones who do these rankings. 57th is ridiculous. But you can't get all, upset and everything. Jacob Gordon says along those lines, and it's a joke, but Colin Cowherd had the 49ers ranked last in the NFC West. Fine. You just make yourself look dumb. That's what freezing cold takes is for. That's the thing. And it's like when I'm not talking crazy about Colin Cowherd because I have a lot of respect for the job he does. If you can yap for 3 hours a day for 5 days a week and then you do other podcasts, that's a talent within itself. That is a talent within itself. You don't have to listen to what he says. You don't have to take, but that's still a talent. And people he's one of the 2 shows that actually survived Fox. So I understand what he does, and I understand how hard that is because, I'm running out of voice right now, and we're about to wrap this show up, and it's an hour. This man yaps for 3 hours every single day. That is not easy. Say what you want about the takes, but that's really not easy. So, but yeah, again, I just don't see the point in getting wrapped up in all these things when there are actual football. We pined all offseason for actual football and not metaphorical, or hypothetical metaphorical. See, I'm losing it. Hypothetical, battles and what's going to happen. And it's right there in front of us. And now we have actual quotes and we have people that are telling us what's going on in camp. Just don't get wrapped up in all that stuff, guys. You wanted 49ers football. It's here for better or worse. But the vibes are A1, according to Steph Sanchez, if I can quote her.
You most certainly can. And I'm all about the vibes. We both are on this show.
Honestly, that's what this show is running on, basically, the entire time. Steph, I gotta say, your hair looks great. I completely respect why you weren't on the show because you were about to get on the airplane and bully ball season.
It was a haircut.
Yeah, so you had to get a haircut because you're about to get on a flight, and I'm like, she's just like me, man. There's no way you're gonna catch me getting on a plane in my freshest without my freshest element. So I know the vibe, right?
I knew you would understand.
Oh, my God, I completely understood. That's why I was like, what did I say in the group chat? You were like, oh, I got something to do. I was like, that's a haircut for the plane. I was like, I guarantee you. I guarantee you that. Because Steph is just like me, man. It's just like me. That'll do it for this episode of Bully Ball. Thank you, Steph. Thank you for all your work and everything as well, too. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. Make sure you follow her YouTube page as well. Daily updates, and I think she's doing updates for the channel as well, too, here at Ghost Standard Podcast Network. But if you want camp updates, Steph is one of the best. Always appreciate you taking your time to go out there. You can follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio podcast. Steph, it's been fun to have you empty the notebook and you let me know what's going on, but I appreciate you so much and keep up the great work. For Steph, for Jay, we're out here.
Peace.